Live.
And we're live!
Hey!
All
right.
How's it going, everybody?
Introductions. My name is Cole.
I'm Brian.
I'm Ian.
I'm Forrest.
I'm Bo.
And I'm Cole.
Wow.
Sweetness.
I actually remembered this time,
You
guys.
remember.
God damn it,
Hey.
Cole.
Yeah.
You had
So-
one job. It was to
I mean-
forget you had one job.
Oh my god.
Hey,
You guys
everybody.
didn't want me to forget I had one job, so I had to remember that I
Fuck!
had one job.
Shit.
I've created
Alright.
a monster.
So, hey, everybody. We are talking tonight about Genlock Season 1, Episodes 3 and 4, Second Birthday, and Training Days. So, if you're not a first member, well, I don't know how you watch the show. Don't pirate.
Don't
Probably leeching off of someone else's first account.
Or, you know, watching
That
it
is
on
fair.
Pornhub.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
That's apparently a thing people do.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised the thing they post on Pornhub, which aren't porn.
So yeah, be wary that there will be spoilers.
Yep.
That
Yep.
should be
3 and
obvious.
It should be. Quote. It should be.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into it here. So hey, how did you guys feel about episode 3?
Enjoy.
Cole, calm down. You're not allowed
I
to
had to
explode
look,
yet.
I had to look away from the microphone. I freaking loved episode 3. I loved
Yeah.
it. It was so good. Now, I want to go ahead and preface this by saying I think I'm a fangirl of this show now. This show is really freaking good. It's super entertaining. The characters
Absolutely.
are awesome. I love them all. But episode 2, well, not episode 2, episode 3, like, just a lot of stuff in the episode resonated with me specifically. And we can get into that a little more in a bit.
Sweet. So hey, Ian, how'd you feel about it?
First of all, can I say Gilbert and Sullivan quotes? What the fuck?
That was
Uh,
funny.
I didn't
Shout
get
out
it.
to the Pirates of Penzance reference there.
Yep.
I didn't get it. I'll assume it's because I'm too young.
It's... I haven't heard anybody mention Gilbert and Sullivan since I watched the West Wing. Jesus.
Oh, that's a show that my
right?
dad watches.
It's a good show.
He's
Oh,
got
it's
like
worth
the
it.
entire show in box set.
Yep, but and we're talking about Genlock here, not just about the West Wing. We can talk about that another time.
Or
But
Pirates.
but now that I'm done giggling like a little schoolgirl, oh, this was so great. I love the conflict of these characters. Like they are not a rough and ready, cohesive team by episode 3. They still got a lot of work to do. And
Absolutely.
what is it? Madrani and Valentina are excellent displays of this within like the first minute.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first
Yeah, they
minute
get
of
into it.
them getting into that argument, and I mean, Valentina has clearly got some misgivings about having a former Union soldier on the team, and Madrani's exclamation of "Not my Union."
Hashtag.
I wanna go ahead and preface this all by saying that Cammy is absolutely best girl.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
there's no dispute. She is 100% best girl.
Are they going to explain why she has robot rabbit ears at some point?
I don't know, but
They're
they're
like,
so,
maybe they should talk about that.
they're so
Forrest,
cute.
Forrest. Moe doesn't need to be explained.
Exactly.
But if it
It's
did-
magic, bitch. I don't gotta explain
Oh.
shit.
I imagine that was probably Dr. Weller's attempt to make her more comfortable with the suit. It's just, if I just add this one thing, she'll probably take to it a whole lot more than if I didn't.
Remind
Because
me
she also has, like, a
about the
robot bunny.
rabbit thing when we get to episode 4.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Because that doesn't come up at all.
I think we know what their spirit animal is.
Or you
There
know,
are
maybe
many.
she's
Which
just
one?
a furry.
Wow.
Yeah, that's...
Hey man, if that's what you're into, it's cool.
We don't discriminate.
We don't discriminate, but we do judge.
Silently, but very heavily.
Silently.
I'm just kidding. You can be whoever you want. We don't care.
Except a furry. I'm
Case
kidding.
in
Except
point,
for
everybody.
robots.
Some of my best
Mr.
friends
Conrad
are furries.
Paulo, if
All right.
you don't understand what we're talking about, you better go fucking watch Genlock.
Yeah.
Like, you should be here if you haven't seen it. I mean, if you
Oh.
really don't care, well, whatever. But, like, you should go watch it.
Go
Oh,
watch
hey.
Genlock and come back.
Yes.
I
You'll
wanna
be informed.
do a quick shout out here to this amazing layout that Bo made for us.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I would
put-
tell you to
real
stand up and take a
good.
bow, but we're not all in the same room.
Stand up and
Did it
take a
in
bow.
fucking
Thank you.
MS Paint.
Fucking Cole, I'm gonna kill you.
Listen.
Not if I kill me first.
Oh my god.
Kill me
Naughty
yourself,
the
you coward.
fuck.
I'm
But-
gonna get
happening?
myself killed. That's
I'm-
how I'm gonna die.
I'm
I want
honestly
it to be
very,
known.
very
Either
happy
that
with
or
how
die
this
of
layout
laughter.
is.
It looks very good.
I was
Yeah, it
very
looks
proud
real
of it.
good.
I sent them like a gazillion different variations of it. I was like, how about this?
Yeah,
how about
she
this?
did.
How about this?
Oh my god. So something that I
Funky
wanted to
MS
talk
Paint.
about. Something that I wanted to talk about was when. So after this whole thing goes down in episode 2, Weller gets called into the colonel's office in episode 3, because he's in trouble. It's like he's getting called to the principal's office, and when they walk in, I noticed a little detail in the background which I thought was very interesting, which is she's got an American flag in her office.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little confused as to how how countries are put together in this universe, because all we've heard about is the polity. We haven't heard about America.
The polity and the yeah. Well,
Yeah.
given that the polity is akin to the UN logo, was literally on the side of the UN building in New York. The first, I'm guessing that the polity is basically their version of, and that the United States, more or less independent country, may or may not still exist, but it's like that region is still, the U.S. basically. So countries probably still exist, and they're just part of this greater, perhaps more centralized or more united UN, basically. It's also interesting talking about flags. She has 3 flags in her office. Actually, she's got the polity, right? She's got a U.S. flag, and then the one next to that is actually the Puerto Rican flag, which she has on her, as well as a big map of the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico. So they're really trying to push. Hey, she's Puerto Rican. Okay, we get it. Thank you. Also, while we're talking about, I took some stupid minor details of like stuff in the background or text scrolls and stuff. So just some of the stuff from her office basically sums up. I'm pretty sure she's got a lot of pictures of her in uniform, but also the same suit that Chase is wearing, which is the pilot uniform. So I think she's ex Air Force or whatever their equivalent is. They did some switcheroos with some of the I spent like way too much time analyzing these pictures on her wall, but suffice it to say, the long and short of it is that they changed them. So in one scene, when she's first talking with the doctor, there's this picture of this purple-haired woman in a lot of that I thought, like, okay, maybe this is like a friend of hers. There's a picture of them together in uniform, so like maybe they went through officer candidacy school together or something. Maybe this is someone who died, someone who's really important to her. I don't know, but and then they changed most of those images to be pictures of her inside. So I don't know if that's some changes in the story. Maybe she just had purple hair when she was younger. I I don't know.
You know, maybe it occurs to me that considering the level of technology that we have today, they're probably like scrolling pictures.
I don't know. It looks kind of like they just swapped out the faces, but
Maybe.
maybe.
So the conversation that happens is that the colonel essentially wants the Genlock team out of there because they've been compromised, but Weller's like, nah, you only live once.
You will.
And, you know, he does promise to give them results.
Yeah, you live
So,
once.
that's also a nice incentive.
Yeah, I love his line. He's like, I can't just clone myself. Believe me, I've tried.
I bet he has.
I can't
You know,
just
considering
clone
his
myself.
madness, that's
Believe
not
me,
an
I've
impossibility.
tried. Believe me, I've tried.
And
Now's not the time
but
to do new voices, Cole.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? A new voice?
we
I
don't
know what
have a
you're talking
Genlock
about.
abridged, Cole.
Oh my
I've
god.
done this voice a lot.
Oh my god.
You know what? If we happen
Cole,
to do one,
It's
I have
evolving.
to voice Dr. Weller.
It's getting new accents. We have to
It's
put it
going
down
to
now.
happen.
If
Have I
we,
never showed you my Diva Tenant?
oh my god,
Have I not?
Oh my god.
Oh.
if we ever did a Genlock abridged, I'm sure James would probably kill himself because the lip flaps are a lot more accurate.
You're not wrong.
No, Judd Lockerbridge not confirmed.
Not
Not confirmed.
confirmed.
Yet.
Not confirmed.
Shut up. What do you mean bootleg, Dave?
Can I
David?
talk about how
Take
much
offense to that.
I love the transitions between the scene with Dr. Weller and is it
Oh
Colonel?
my
Is she
God,
Colonel?
Yeah.
Is that her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colonel Marine. Like the transitions between them and
Colonel
then
Monica
back,
Rial.
yeah, Monica Real.
Basically.
And then back to the Holland pilots because like I love how they transition back and forth between the two of them.
Just some great writing.
Sorry, I don't mean to. I don't mean to.
Colonel Real.
I don't mean to. I don't mean to cut you off, but is it bad that for the characters that I still don't know their names, I just refer to them as their voice actors?
Oh no.
Dude, like
So is Cammy
same,
Maisie?
100. Wait.
No,
who
I've
voices-
learned
who
Cammy's
voices
name.
Cammy?
Maisie Williams. She's
Maisie
Arya
Williams.
Maisie
Stark
Williams.
from Game of
From Game of
Thrones.
That show I haven't seen. Hooray.
You should watch it. It's good.
Yeah, no, screw that.
It's really good though.
You have
I'm,
no taste.
I know
Cole.
that. I know, and that's why I can't watch it. Because if I do, then I lose all of my free
It's
time.
basically like it's Grey Haddock. Like I haven't learned his character.
I don't even know
Chad
his name.
James. I haven't learned his character's name yet. I haven't learned Monica Rial's character's name. There's a lot of people I don't know their names.
I can't even remember who Miles plays, the name of his character.
Yeah, Miles is another
I know
one.
his nickname
One.
is Crumbs, and that's it.
Yeah.
His name's what?
His name is
His-
Lopez.
No, his nickname
we
is
know.
Crumbs. I said his nickname, damn it.
His name's Lopez.
I'm pretty sure his nickname was Huevos, but okay.
I said it wasn't huevos.
It was supposed
No,
to be.
there's Anyway.
But yeah, so no, I agree. I really like the transitions. And in those transitions, there were some things that I really, really liked. One is, so first of all, I want to, being the otaku that I am, I want to talk a little bit about Kazu, the Japanese character.
Kazoo.
Kazoo.
Well, you completely skipped over the best part of the episode, though. Is Cammy yelling, "Put me the fuck down," aka Cammy only being the one to have the f bombs.
Yeah. Best swear words go to the sky.
You've got to work on your swearing. What are you talking about? I swear perfectly good.
That's episode 4, Cole.
I know, but it was it was relevant.
relevant.
Okay.
Anyways,
But,
Kazu.
yeah, so with Kazu, I know a little bit about Japanese. I would hardly consider myself to be fluent, but there's a.
Let's be honest.
There's a moment.
Anything you know is from Annika.
No, I do my own research. Cole.
Do you? What if I don't believe you?
I do. I've
Then
been
I
learning
back
Japanese
him up
on
and
my
I
own.
prove you wrong, Coles. What happened?
But I have learned some stuff from Anna.
Brian's weeb status left alone.
But there's a great little moment where that they didn't translate, where Kazu starts talking to Valentina and he calls her Val, and Val responds with Valentina yo, and that kind of caught me off guard because one, they didn't translate it, they just kind of left it up to the audience to try to figure it out, and two is that I'm pretty sure she spoke broken Japanese.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I've never heard somebody say, because yo is an ending that's like it's like a sentence ender that's like I'm telling you this information. It's kind of like assertive, and but I've never heard somebody just kind of tack yo on like that. It's usually dayo or desio. So I think proper Japanese would have been like Valentina dayo or Valentina desio, but she just said Valentina yo, and I don't know whether that was just them writing and not knowing Japanese, or the fact that she's probably she speaks broken English from time to time too, so I wonder if that was actually a deliberately added little thing.
Well, Brian, considering they have a character that only speaks in fluent Japanese, I feel like them not knowing Japanese was not the problem here.
Well, but here's the thing. I don't think that they. My guess is that the English-speaking team did not write the Japanese dialogue. I think they probably wrote the dialogue in English and sent it over to the team in Japan to do that translation.
I'm sure they could have asked for help though, on a line like that.
It's intentional.
I'm
I would agree. That I'm just saying,
to show
like,
the character play.
No, agreed. I'm just saying I don't think them not knowing Japanese was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
a fair
what
point.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is I think that I think that it was probably they probably deliberately had her speak broken Japanese, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
funny.
Although I don't know enough about Japanese to know for like 100% sure that that's broken Japanese, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, there's not to go too far ahead into the next episode, but there is a moment in episode 4 where Chase and Worth are talking, and he says something, like he translates something that Kazu told him. I think he says that Kazu calls her Sensei-chan, and she's like, "What chan? What does that mean?" I was like,
Wait, was that what he said, Sensei-chan?
Sensei-chan. Yeah. So, I was like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. They're little retinal things, like, translate everything, okay? So there's no way she didn't understand, but like, okay, all right, it's funny for the joke, but like, they just did that for the joke anyway.
Oh my god, that's funny.
You're funny.
Funny looking.
Funny
Oh
looking.
my god! Wow.
Oh!
Anyways.
Wow, peak of comedy, guys.
You're so good.
Guys, I write funny shit for a living.
Do you though?
Not for a living, that's fair. But
It's not-
let's see. Anyways, the new recruits aren't like feeling super hot about being recruited.
this is a great
But,
scene.
They I love the fact that Weller manages to kind of like bring him around as like, I just want you to try it.
just
like,
right. You
it's
know
like
what it is
he-
yet, because they haven't seen
Yeah.
the robots. I mean, they saw them, they didn't know what they were for.
He's like, Weller's like a mom that's like, look, I just want you to take a no thank you bite.
How do you know you don't like it if you haven't tried it yet?
Yeah.
Because my brain is still in my head.
Where I'd like it to stay.
So the other thing that I thought was there was an interesting detail that was dropped, which is that the estimate is that the polity will be pushed out of North America in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
They're a little short on time.
Yeah.
Although I do have a question. So it's been like 4 years, and the Union has pushed them back to like what, Missouri?
I have it in my notes here somewhere. They've taken.
Wow,
What
notes. How
cities?
professional of you.
Didn't they state in the newest episode that they were in Dallas?
Well,
Yeah,
they went
well,
to Dallas, but they said it was like hundreds of
really
miles. Yeah.
So they're currently, the Union is currently at the 88th meridian, which is around. So they've taken Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and but they haven't gone much further than that.
So 4 years to get there, and then 6 months for the rest of the country.
I guess. Guess they accelerate. I don't know. Especially if they're pushing into.
Maybe I don't know what's in
pushing into
Pittsburgh or anything, but like, are there like a bunch of like natural barriers, like mountains and shit?
No, once you're past the Appalachians, it's pretty much smooth sailing until you
Yeah.
get to the
I mean, there's a
Rockies.
lot of like middle of fucking nowhere in the United States.
Yeah.
I can tell you as somebody who lives in the South, there really aren't many. There aren't many natural. Other than the Appalachians, you're pretty home free. I did want to say something though. It's off topic, but it was on topic, and I was gonna say it earlier. When they were getting into the robots, the way that Camry reacted the first time is 100% the way that I reacted the first time I tried VR. I held up my hands, I moved around, I closed them and opened them, walked around.
It's really hard not to.
Right? It's this new experience.
Like I can't even fathom what it would have been like to go into VR but have like the full sensory of like being able to feel everything. You know, like cuz they when Kazu goes into his mech or into his Holon, he says something along the lines of like that he can feel it, and then the doctor says something along the lines of like, oh yeah, well you have all kinds of different like not feel like sensory like receptor things.
Yeah, basically they've given the mechs a form of proprioception, which is like your body sense of like where your body is positioned. Which is pretty cool. I feel like that would be really confusing though, because it's probably not like pinpoint as our nervous system is. It would probably take some getting used to, just like figure out where your edges are.
Yeah, of course.
Which is the issue that Cammy has.
Yeah. She's like a different shape now. So.
Yeah. So the other thing that I really like. So first of all, I love Chase using aim assist to be a badass at basketball.
Yeah.
I forgot about
It's
that
so
scene.
petty,
I loved
but
it
it's
so
so
much.
natural. It's just, of course I do this.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Michael B. Jordan is so good.
Yeah, excellent.
I really I also love when Cammy is getting uploaded. She's like, if my brain gets fried, like Kazoo, you can have my manga collection. And he's all like, I haven't read manga since I was a kid. She's like, what's wrong with you?
Who hurt you?
She's a weeb.
Yeah, clearly she's the more like.
Yeah,
See, this is why Cammy is best girl.
Just because
100%.
you assume you read manga, like, come on.
I wanna see a scene where maybe he at one point is just like, oh, can you show me this thing like having to do with like manga or anime or something, and she's trying to explain some like insanely weeaboo thing to him, and he just genuinely doesn't understand it.
This sounds like I was about to say that sounds like the opening to a doujin.
You know what it sounds like? You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a great skit for Genlock Chibi.
Oh my god, Genlock Chibi.
Genlock Chibi confirmed.
I feel, although I'll be honest with you, I feel like the cost of hiring these voice actors for something like
Yeah, that's
would not
fair.
be worth it.
That's fair.
Like, it would not be cost effective.
No, probably not.
Who said that was the point, though?
So,
Rooster Teeth wanting to make money.
Fair point.
Also, the whole animation for them like getting uploaded into their Holons. Every single time I see it, the only thing I can think is, Link, start.
Oh my god.
Stop it!
Can we
Stop
talk
it
about
now.
though? And this will be relevant once we get to episode 4. But when Val uploads into her Holon, her first thing is I can I can work with this, or now this is something I can work with, or something like that. And
Yeah.
it just like that line is so cool to me, knowing what we know now with episode 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, I need to
Um,
lower my gain a little bit because I
So
keep peaking it.
I apparently Miranda and whatever the fuck his name is, Chad.
Jody.
Jody.
Oh my god. Even his name sounds like he's a douche.
Jody that kills
Wait.
people.
Who voices Jody?
Chad.
Chad James from
Wait, from
Screw
Death
Attack?
Battle?
I think
From
so.
Death Battle, right? Why
Is
didn't Chris
Death
voice
Battle
him?
is Screw Attack, right?
Yeah, well, Screw Attack. Screw Attack is owned by Rooster Teeth, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of wish Chris voiced him. He's an asshole.
Well, they keep trying to make him out to not be an asshole. Like, I don't get why Miranda decided to hit that.
Because
So-
he was there, and
So let me
It-
tell
it's-
you who Jody reminds me of. He reminds me of that third person in every show who's less relevant but is the comic relief, such as
so-
Sokka from from Avatar: The Last Airbender, or
Okay, but wait a minute, Cole. How
or
much of
Bolin
Avatar the last
He has seen 2
Airbender-
episodes.
Or Bull.
Oh my
You
God.
don't know
I've-
shit
Nah,
about
nah, nah.
Sokka.
Listen, I've seen 7. Okay.
Why have you
Yeah.
seen 7? I thought we were supposed to
It's-
watch
it's-
together, bitch.
It was before we started watching it together.
Yeah, uh-huh.
You don't. Okay,
It-
you don't
it
know.
is. I haven't watched a single episode. Okay, let
You
me
don't know
finish my
jack shit about Sokka. You don't know
Let
about
me-
Yue. You don't know nothing.
Let me finish my point. Or like Bolin from Korra.
Okay.
Like it's not that they're just kind of there. They're important, but like they're that.
Nah,
third
Jody's
wheelie
just
kinda-
kinda there.
So are you implying that Miranda's just gonna make off with Val like Korosami?
Ooh.
I didn't say anything. Why do you hate Bolin, Kyle? Bolin is the best character in the entire show.
All right, Cole, you need to stop talking right
Anyways,
now.
this is Gen Talk,
Anyways.
not Atla Talk.
yeah.
That's definitely Korra, not Atla.
Yeah.
Cuck.
Wow, you mentioned Sokka first. Cuck.
I will find you, Cole. I will find you.
I didn't ask for your opinion. Cuck.
Anyways, so they get
Anyways.
into the Holons.
Yeah, they get into the Holons. Yeah, we've already talked about Cammy having a hard time walking. Can we talk about the fact that the Holons have Heelys?
Healy away from your feelies. I
The
love.
Look, man.
Hollows have Heelys.
I think one of my favorite things about this whole sequence though is like the brother sister vibe that I get from Kazu and Cammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yes.
Also, we knew they had Heelys, man. It made sense for them to have Heelys.
But like, they have Heelys.
Dude, I've known they've had Heelys since episode 1. What is your problem?
When did
It's
we?
funny.
When
the-
did we see them? Oh
I mean,
yeah,
it's in the
from the
opening.
intro.
Yeah.
They do a lot of running around and ballerina ice skating, whatever it is.
I mean,
Mhm.
I figured they had like some jets or some shit, but
Real quick,
No.
is Holon an acronym?
No.
No.
Then can we
Holland-
make it an acronym?
Oh no.
Why?
Can we create our own acronym for Holon?
Why?
Because that would be funny.
I'll leave you to it, Cole.
Give me a minute. Let me
Get
think of
back to
something
me on
Get
that.
back to us.
Hold
Let
on.
me
Let's
think of
open
something
nuts.
stupid.
Oh my god.
oh my god.
There you go. Moving on.
Fuck.
Whoop,
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta give you a minute.
It's
Where's Maria when you need her?
Oh my god.
So I thought that it was really cute that for as vulgar as Cammy is, she doesn't actually flip people off, but then I realized that she did.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the thing is the first way that she did it with her hand on her arm is the way that people from Scotland flip people off, specifically.
Oh,
with,
really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
no.
that.
With the
That is
yeah,
It's not. No, that's a UK thing.
it's I think that's a British.
It's
Yeah.
a British thing as well.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
she's from Scotland, so.
No,
is
yeah,
fine.
it makes sense. It
Or
makes
the
sense.
UK
It's
at
just
least.
also.
For the
It's just also a British thing. You know, well, a former UK
That's one
thing.
of the reasons
Anyway.
why you don't do like the peace sign. You don't do it backwards with your palm facing you because it's half of flipping someone off. Essentially, it's like you're making the beginnings of flipping someone off.
Ah.
But then she does the double bird anyways, which I love.
So, also when they're doing their training, Weller mentions this little thing called uptime, which we'll get into in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, how about some politics, guys? You want to talk some politics? So they have a whole thing about getting numb to the news.
You
And
just,
boy, that's
skipped
not
the
relatable at
entire
all.
training sequence.
I mean,
That's not
Let's
topical
get
at
down
all.
to business.
I mean,
defeat
does anybody
TLDR.
have?
the
TLDR,
Huns.
the training sequence was really cute, really fun. I thought it was a really nice way to lighten the mood right before dropping the politics bombshell on us. There you go.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
you know, the
And-
polities bombshell.
Oh,
Shut
right.
the
Get
fuck
out.
up.
I
Yeah.
can
No
mute
need
you
to
fucking
get
Cole.
political.
I can mute you, Cole.
I'm. Fuck.
Gotcha there.
Where's your god now?
Recognize and
to a
suffer,
god?
Cole.
I'm T-posing.
god to a non-believer.
I will T-pose to assert my dominance.
Anyways, the politics.
Anyways, the trending, it does end off with like a little bit of, they don't do so well, but then Chase is like, hey, let me show you how it's really done. And it's kind of under the guise of maybe showing them how it's done, but it's really making some to Jody.
Yeah.
He like picks the flag up and almost spears his mech with it. So it's like,
Yeah.
that was a very
Specifically
personal,
spears his mech in his crotch.
Yeah.
Talk about asserting
and then he like
dominance.
picks him up and shakes his head back off.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's not subtle at all.
oh no! I think he got the message loud and clear.
Yeah, I think he was little emasculated.
He's
Yeah,
like he
well,
was
that's-
really really passive aggressive, but minus the passive.
Minus.
Minus the passive.
Yeah, well, both. Yeah, oh, God, what is Grey Haddock's character called? I never remember.
Leon.
Leon, and the Doctor both kind of like, okay, moving on.
Yeah. So after the politics bombshell, the new recruits do decide that they're going to stick with Genlock. But they're not told about the 6 months.
Nope.
Kind of.
No,
Dr. Weller kind of kept that from him. And then they end the episode with Pirates of Penzance.
Yes. Excellent. There's also a couple of things on the Doc's computer screen in terms of talking about uptime. We do get into that in the next. It's like they get about 40 minutes of uptime before they have, which isn't actually a lot of time.
No, it's not.
That's enough time to get your feet wet, and then you're pulled back. It's
Yeah,
a little over a
I
half
mean,
hour. That's not long.
A difference in that though is a good way to look at how like fights like this go and whatnot is, you know, we're so used to seeing anime series and like movies where fights last, you know, like over the course of several episodes, and we have this kind of mindset, this subconscious. Oh God. Oh, hold on, guys. We're having some technical difficulties. Hello,
Right,
is everyone there?
Are we good
That
now?
was yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we're good now.
Whoa, hello.
Anyways, where, you know, we have this kind of subconscious thought of, oh, these fights are lasting for hours on end. A really good way to look at it, and they've got it right. They've got it nailed down to pretty much a science, is look at it kind of in terms of D&D. Each round, even if you have, say, 8 people playing, each round of combat is only 6 seconds in real time, because everything's happening at the same time. So realistically, these fights are only lasting maybe 5 minutes tops. Like, they're not actually day-long fights.
Yeah.
So 40 minutes of uptime is a pretty decent amount of time, especially considering the information that we got from the most recent episode, where they basically wait till the last possible second to go in.
To give them as much time as
Speaking of
possible in
which,
the match.
should we get into episode 4?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Hang on, just one. The couple
Okay.
other things that pop up on the Doc's computer screens. He talks about mind frame toxicity and how there isn't any signs of that right now. I'm sure that'll be relevant later, but that sounds pleasant, right? That's-
Yeah.
that's very- the other thing is when he's when telling them, you know, happy second birthday, as many happy returns as possible, or whatever he says. He is pushing a button that reads maximum safe upload count remaining.
What?
You
In
didn't
other
see
words-
that?
Yep.
In other words, my guess is they only have so many times they can upload into the mechs and come back.
Yep.
So there's a limit, and we don't know what it is, but there's a limit on the number of times they're going to be able to do this.
So
Well,
let's put it this way.
and
They have a limit on the amount of time they can be in the Holons, and a limit on how many times they can go into the Holons in the first place.
And, you know, slight spoiler for episode 4, but we're kind of transitioning into that. As we found out, they can age out of being able to use the Holons as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I will
it's
say
not
the
an
neuros-
rest of your life kind of thing.
Yeah. The neuroscience stuff on that was kind of wonky. They're like producing neurotransmitters or something. Like, no, not even close. But,
It's a
it
physical
works.
limitation they introduced.
I wanna point out to the audience that Forrest is an actual biologist.
Oh, I
Uh,
have a degree in it. Yes.
yeah.
Oh shoot! I
Nah,
didn't know you'd
I
graduated,
don't-
Forrest.
Biology things.
Yeah.
Uh,
Forrest is like the oldest out of all of us.
am
How old
I?
are you now, Forrest?
I don't want to say now.
Cole, did you really send me a Bolin meme while we're on the podcast?
I was intending to see it later, but I
Cole?
was trying to remember what the name of Bolin's mover character was,
Nuktuk.
and I looked. Yeah, it is Nuktuk.
You
I
could have
looked it
asked
up.
me.
I could have, but that would have been giving up.
Anyways, moving on to episode
Anyways.
4.
So I found Bolin Mover Star T.
Okay.
Anyways,
Anyways,
Moving on to the topic at hand.
Sorry,
A
one last thing.
sweet, earthy
I think
blend
I think this
full
is
of
important
heartfelt
though.
laughs and late
Okay.
fun.
It does tie into the next episode
Okay.
because they've talked about this a little bit in more detail. But on some of the whiteboards behind the dock, there's written in great big letters, so we all see it. Ship of Theseus ? Which the ship of Theseus is a philosophy problem. That's based on Theseus. He's on a ship, and the ship
I know exactly. What you're talking
gets
about.
repaired. The mast gets broken, and they got to repair it and fix it and change it. And over the course of his adventure, of course, they've every original part of the ship, so that nothing of the original ship remains. And the question philosophically here is it the same ship anymore? Because it's been completely right. And so apply that to the human mind, and the idea is, well, if your neurons are constantly, being rewired, if your blood cycles through your body every so often, right? You're constantly replacing your cells and your pieces. Are you the same person at the start of that after all of your components have been replaced? And I think in terms of challenge, it's like they're uploading their brains onto these computers, and then they're putting their brain back, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to remember anything. Like they have to. So I think they're probably just copying their brains over to these,
Forrest,
e-brain. Yeah,
they actually talk about this in the 4th episode.
yes, they do.
they have,
It's a-
but they leave a lot of it kind of up in the air.
Well,
Yeah, they do.
I think they're. I think they make some things pretty clear. So first of
Yeah,
all,
so good.
so why don't we talk
Okay.
about episode 4? So
Really good on you for bringing up the ship of Theseus, though. I would have totally not thought of that. Like,
So episode 4, the pilot, it starts with a training montage, as all good episodes do.
Training days. There's a fun pun in the title too.
Yep.
Oh wait a minute, did I training days? I said the pilot, didn't I? I don't know where I got that. That's episode
It's the
1.
first episode.
Yeah, training days. That's what I meant. I never said anything different.
No.
I
not
literally
on the
just
internet.
changed. Literally just changed my notes, even though nobody can see it. So Kazu's got some things about his physique.
His butt.
Yeah,
Seems
he
to-
cooks his food.
His butt.
Yeah, he does.
There
I
was
also
a
love that he
butt.
kicks. Yeah, there was. It was a pretty nice butt.
Wow.
Also,
wow, that was gay.
I mean, that's why I said it. Also, he kicks Cammy out of bed every morning, and it's great.
Literally,
Yep.
like I said, sibling relationship. I love it.
Yeah.
That's like my bro TP right there.
Yep.
Bro TP.
That's exactly how this
Have
works.
you never heard that before,
I
Brian?
have not,
Wow.
because I live under a rock.
And then there's also
Yeah,
the
you
no
do.
TP, cough Toradana cough.
But he still shares his food with her. And he actually ends up later cooking breakfast for everybody.
Which I love.
Is Kazu's just secretly Ren?
Wow.
Wow.
Like,
Except he
a
does
little
anything but
sassier.
pancakes. Anything but
It
pancakes.
really kind
He's
of
red but
this
sassy.
this whole training sequence. I mean, I know that there's a lot of training sequences that are out there and whatnot, but this one specifically gave me kind of made me kind of flashback to one of my favorite movies. It's a relatively recent movie, and that's the most recent Power Rangers movie. When they're all training together, when they finally decide, okay, we're serious about this, we wanna work to be stronger, we wanna work to be better, and they start learning to work together and whatnot. And that's what this one specifically made me think of, and I really love it because it's very endearing. You kind of get to see them grow a little bit as a team, as friends even, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think the Power Rangers reference is lost on the show.
So they have they are told, and this is kind of getting back into what you were talking about, Forrest. They're told that they must protect their brains, which definitely makes it seem like their brains are actually on board the Holon. So if they die in the game, they die in real life.
I was gonna say.
God damn it! Fuck! Brian, you. I did not think you would stoop so low, and I am disappointed.
Hey, Brian, people die when they are killed.
Yeah, they sure do, Cole.
Wow.
They sure do.
Jesus
Do
Christ.
you even know what that's from, Cole?
I forget the name.
Fate Stay
Wow.
Night.
Wow.
Oh, no, I haven't seen.
You
Cole,
know,
I'm gonna fucking murder you when you sleep.
Bo,
Ah.
you're
I'm
gonna
more of a-
crucify me. I know you told me that I needed to watch Heaven's Feel first.
No, I said
Uh,
Unlimited Blade Works first.
Oh, okay.
Or sorry,
well,
no,
I know
Fate,
you said
Fate Zero first. Sorry, Fate Zero.
Fate Zero. That's right. I got it so wrong. I know you said that I needed to watch Fate Zero first.
Did you watch
And
the fucking
instead-
Magical Girl one?
No.
Okay.
I
Thank
instead
God.
started watching Unlimited Blade Works Abridged.
Oh my god, no, it's gonna spoil it for you.
No, watch the actual Unlimited Blade Works, Brian.
Anyways,
We're gonna talk
anyway-
about this. This topic is not done, Brian.
No, we are not done here. Like, you know when you say
Bo's
put a
gonna
pin,
sit
I'm
Brian
putting in a
down.
fucking giant ass nail like they used in olden times, just hammering that in. This is not over with.
It's
Listen,
like a
man,
railroad
I-
track, like Spike. It's like
I
fucking
don't-
9-inch. Like, you
Mhm.
need a
9-inch
fucking
nails?
jackhammer to fucking make that shit stick in.
9-inch nails?
No.
Fucking die, Cole.
Wow.
But
Oh my god.
freaking I can't watch Fate Stay Night because I cannot have another reason. I cannot have a reason to play another gacha game.
You don't
Alright.
play the games. But
You
moving
really-
on,
really-
let's
you
get
really
back
Anyways,
on
let's talk
topic.
about
I don't have a
Genlock.
reason
Let's
to
Yeah.
talk
play
about
another
fucking
gacha
Genlock before I strangle Cole through the screen.
Anyways.
But
Anyway.
yeah, so they have to protect their brains. So, like I said, they have to. If they die in the Holon, they die.
Well, they haven't confirmed that. They said you have to protect it, but I don't know that that means they die in real life. They weren't specific about that. I think it's
It's
that means their brain. So they're in these little pods, right? Chase, and he's in his tank, but you know, their physical body is still there, right? And it looks like they kind of go to sleep when they upload.
Yeah,
Now the doctor. Sorry, what?
go Forrest before we all die. Let's go.
Sorry, real quick. When
Alright.
you said pods, I thought of pod racing from Star.
Oh my god.
Continue.
Just go, Forrest. Just
The
go.
doctor said the doctor specifically called the e-brains a decanted human mind. It made me think that there's not like a connection between. Maybe there is. I mean, if that's the case, then you know, yes, they probably die in real life if they die in the game. There's not like a connection there. There's not like a Wi-Fi connection between them and the Holon. Like they took and copied it to this computer and then put that computer right. So I am still on the fence as to whether that would kill them in real life or whether it would simply mean if the e-brain dies, they can no longer making another one might be really, really difficult. And because it's specifically their brain that's uploaded, maybe you can't change. Like you have to. It has to be. You know, once their brain is uploaded, that one's unique to them. It changed or something. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I don't
Well,
necessarily think if the mech's brain dies, they'll turn into a vegetable back home.
let
or something.
me jump in here and say I think it does mean that they will die or either be brain dead because from a story perspective, there has to be stakes in their actual battles.
I don't necessarily. I think that it could potentially be one of those instances where if like their brain, their consciousness believes that these things are happening to their body, and if your brain believes it can, like, people have died of fear. Like, if their brain, for whatever reason, panics enough to think that they are dying, they could potentially die back in the pod. Like their
Yeah, you
body
could
could
die of shock.
potentially, yeah, they could die of shock very easily.
Yeah,
So
and we see of that later on.
Which
I'm-
will,
I'm
I'm
still
actually-
on the fence.
I'm fairly sure it's death because their minds are literally copied onto the brain, and if that's destroyed, that's it.
yeah,
I
there's
mean,
no way of
it's-
coming
they're
back.
not-
It's like
they're not
severing a
stripping their
connection.
brain out of their heads. They're not like removing their neurons
no,
from their
but
physical
they're-
form. Their brain is still there. So I don't
Let's,
see how they're not like erasing their brain and then copying it over.
I mean, if
So-
the
Oh no
connection is
Forrest, you may
broken-
have a point. I think it may have adverse effects, but they are copying it, and the
No,
reason
they're
why
not.
the reason why I say this is because your brain has to accept
Let me
your recopy upon you.
So
let me okay. Let me be clear about what they've said. When they go into the Holons, they specifically refer to it as uploading, and when they leave the Holons, they specifically refer to it as downloading.
Yes.
they're
So-
not copying.
That's
Copying is
fair.
not what happens.
It's essentially
That's fair.
let me
It's
put it
more like cut and paste.
let's put it in terms not in Legend of Korra standards, but in Atlas standards. When you meditated into the spirit world, if your body moved from the position that it was previously in and you tried to come back, you could not because your body was not in the same state as which you left it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
they
fair.
talk about that with uptime, actually. That's why they say that uptime is bad. They kind of explain that in this episode, right? They're like, if
Yeah.
your brain is too different, the e-brain is too different from your physical, you can't upload that. It doesn't mesh correctly anymore.
Which
Which is
what
interesting.
happens though? What happens if their physical body dies while they're uploaded into the Genlock? Does their brain still stay there? Like, are they just a USB at that point?
Yes.
Like, can you just put them on a USB and carry them around in your pocket?
If you've got the storage, sure.
I think
But I
you could
would not
upgrade
want
the
to-
USB, but
I would not want to think about what the effects could be of just shutting down the human mind because it runs out of power.
yeah,
'Cause
I don't
those-
think you could just
those-
hit the reset button on
Yeah. Because if that were to happen, like those suits, that they were always have been on. We have never seen them inhabited while the machine was off.
Well, something else to mention, I think, is when your mind is racing, you also can't go back. So like, That-
No, that's
well, that was an issue, right? Like
No,
you have
the-
to calm down, right?
no. The issue, the issue with Cammy was that her mind was racing and she was eating up her uptime.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Because
kind of like
the
when
more
we're talking about
stressed-
overclock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the more
It's like it was
stressed out
eating
they
through
become,
your-
the less time. It's like if you were on limited airspace. If you started panicking and having a breakdown or crying, you would be using up the air faster.
Yeah, when you start hyperventilating, you breathe more of the air, and yeah. And they're just worried because again, if you go too far on your uptime, then they put you back. They can't resync
Right.
your brain more. Anyway, so crazy. There's also one other. They said in that little bit about them being connected to a network, right? The Doctor starts talking about Genlock Phase 2 and how his vision of this was like connecting human brains together to form like a network of like networked brains. But he says all of the mech are always online and they're all connected to this network, which immediately made me think, okay, what if the Union gets their hands on one of these Holons or one of these? Then they'll be connected to that net. The good guys may not necessarily know that that's the case. And I'm thinking this may lead to sort of a Harry Potter Voldemort sort of situation. Spoilers, where you can sort of like peer into what the other side is doing. Maybe.
I suppose that's very true.
Especially given what we see.
Also, let me just say, like, I think maybe not the best idea to have the computers running your mind run on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I think that when they say decant, they made a copy of it, but it lives on that computer. It's not sending signals from you to the machine over Wi-Fi. Because like if you lose Wi-Fi,
Yeah, yeah. Like you gotta be hard installed.
yeah. That being
Uh,
said, all of the computer screens do have a sync a
mhm.
sync icon that, or it says synchronized or something at the top of everybody's. So there is, it seems, some sort of back and forth network communication between the e-brain and the brain. It just may not be that that's required.
Yeah. So I would certainly hope that when they're doing their uploads and downloads that they're hardwired, because you don't want somebody in the break room to like accidentally knock over the router and like fuck over
and kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope for something like a project this expensive and with this much potential cost of human capital that it's a hard line. Like a very protected, like there are guards at these cables, hard line.
Don't come any closer. There's a person in that cable. Like
What? What are you talking
There's a person
about?
in that.
It's a fucking cable, man. I'm the maintenance guy. Oh, okay, but just like wait like 5 minutes.
In any case, I think it was really interesting to hear the evaluation from Miranda on where all the recruits are at.
Yeah, no, she nailed it.
Because, yeah, Cammy's got nerves around weapons, Kazu charges in alone, and Valentina always hangs back. So they're not trusting. Nope, they're not trusting, they're not communicating, which is a problem if you're in a military operation.
Well, here's the thing, though. She's also just describing what is going to make them awesome, minus Cammy's aversion to weapons. Because Valentina is the sniper. We know this. That's why she hangs back. That's her method of combat. Kazu is our melee brawler and bruiser, which we also see in this fight. That's why he charges forward.
He does love his melee weapons.
He loves the melee. So, and we're seeing that play out. It's not necessarily that they're uncoordinated. They still lack coordination, that's to be sure. It's just that each of them have a different way of approaching combat that would make them all unique as units, as we're going to see in their armors, which will all be unique later, which we saw that being set up today. Because Cammy was having problems, and Milas, I can't remember Miles' character's name for the Migas was talking about that, and Cammy was talking to him about how she just feels really weird walking around in a Holon body as opposed to her own. And, he sent her the software for creating her own custom, legs and armor pieces, which will obviously become, her bunny set of armor.
Okay.
That we'll get to see in the intro.
This is what I wanted to talk about earlier. Migas is like, hey, here's the capability of being able to mod, put anything, put anything on your mech and whatnot, and Cammy's brain immediately goes, world's largest fursuit.
And you know what?
Yep.
That's not all Migas had on his mind.
That's what it becomes. It becomes a giant rabbit.
And that's not all.
100% didn't hear that.
She doesn't say that.
Oh.
But I'm saying
it's what she's thinking.
Seeing what it turns into.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. Migas also mentions Jace.
Yeah, he does.
And he's like, he's never been quite the same without these. And it's like, oh, it's his fucking wings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, I thought legs at first, because like he might need a couple of those too. But one at a time.
It's his pilot wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I want to. So, that's all well and good, but we skipped over something really important. Chase and Miranda have a talk.
They do.
And I am so happy because I was bracing for the cliche like misunderstanding bullshit, but they actually had an adult conversation.
They did.
There are adults in this universe. Thank God.
Yep.
And I remember one of the first things that I talked to you about, Bo, was my concern over how they were going to handle this romantic dealio with
we did definitely
Chase
talk
and
about
Miranda.
that.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad to say they're handling it pretty much exactly the way I wanted.
Exactly the same too. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said I want them to, like, they don't need to be done working through it, but I want them to actually like start working through this in the middle of this season.
At
and
least
that's
not
exactly
be
what they've
hostile
done.
towards each other anymore.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
can be civil and be on good terms and not be dating again. Like just have them,
Yeah.
they're coworkers. They're on the same team. They're on the same side.
Well, and I remember
They're
one
gonna
of
have to be working together.
And I remember one of the things that you said, Bo, was like, maybe season finale, like Miranda could be like, well, maybe we can try something again. But that actually happened this episode.
Yeah.
She was like, need to think about some things. Maybe we can try something again.
It wasn't
Come
so
talk to me. Come with an actual pickup line this time.
it wasn't so much of it wasn't so much of a don't try, don't give up, but it was kind of it also wasn't like oh yes, let's just go back to it. It was just kind of
Yeah.
like like don't give up, like keep at it, like kind of a little bit playful in it too.
Yeah, like you're not barking up the wrong tree, but you're
It's
gonna
just
have
gonna
to work
take
for
some
this.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring an actual pickup line.
Exactly.
Well,
Bring
he
something
has
better
to-
than hey.
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 The classic pickup line of the ages.
Hey,
Hey.
panties drop.
What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's good. It's good because he's got a regainer, right? He was dead, kind of,
Yeah.
as far as she knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of a heck of a thing to get over. Hey, kind of.
Yes, this Riken says something really good in the chat of that Chase says keep moving forward.
Yes, he
Yeah,
does.
the Monty
That
quote.
that definitely I cried in my reaction. I was like, you don't get to do that.
They're like, we did do that.
Yeah, I was like, who said you could just take my heart and throw it on the ground and stomp on it?
Okay, they didn't do that. It's
They
more like they put it on a
did.
pedestal, put a nice glass case around it, and put a gold plaque saying, "This is what you should appreciate."
I definitely got sniffly. Like it made me sniffly and made my eyes burn. I was very emotionally compromised. But we are approaching my favorite part of the episode.
the the ether.
Yes. So to Brian, do you have a good lead in for the ether, the team building exercises? Brian? Oh, sorry.
Brian.
Hold on, guys. Brian is disconnecting currently.
Oh no!
Oh,
Code
Brian
red.
is just exploding.
Oh,
There
Brian
goes
has
the internet.
he unfortunately has
there goes the
some
internet
winter
as
weather
we
going.
transition into VR.
Yeah, as we
Yeah.
transition to the
Well,
internet.
I'll go ahead and just kind of lead into it. So, following the scene, the discussion between Miranda and Chase, we have Cammy and the rest of them in their bunks, and they're all kind of talking about what they want to do for their evening off. It's the first time that they have off, and they're all kind of debating on what they want. Kazu wants a beer. Cammy kind of wants a beer too, but Yaz isn't gonna let her. And
Lincoln and Skull.
yeah, and Cammy comes up with the idea for all of them to go diving into the virtual reality world of the ether, which definitely gave me some Oasis vibes from Ready Player One.
Oh yeah.
Which I love.
Oh, yeah.
Movie I haven't seen.
Oh, that's a good one. If you like VR, you should watch Ready Player One. It's so much fun.
No, watch it then read it.
Yeah. But don't
recommend
don't,
in that order.
Don't compare them though, because they are vastly different. Anyways.
Yes.
And so, you know, they go. I'm not very good at this, so I'm doing my best, guys.
Oh, if you'd like to lean on me, I can help us here.
Yes, please help.
Our heroes are all they assemble, and or more like Cammy appears as another rabbit,
Of course.
of course,
a
and
tiny little
they
rabbit.
don't appear in the party slot, and she has to go, oh, do I have to do everything myself? And starts inviting all of them so they can join. And when they finally get in there, the first thing that happens is they all decide, you know what, we were going to do this team building exercise, but nah. And they all start splitting up.
Well,
you
you literally just skipped over one of the most significant moments of the episode.
Oh yeah, it's Val. That's right.
So
yeah,
not
take
just,
it away.
Not just Val. So, you know, Cammy shows up first and she's in her little bunny avatar, which is super cute. And then Kazu shows up immediately. And she's just basically, she gives him a little bit of shit for being super edgy and whatnot. And then
he's just an edgier version of his real life.
Mm-hmm. And
then
yeah,
that's right.
Yaz shows up. And she's in I don't want to say it wrong.
Hijab.
Hijab, yeah. And she's got longer hair, and I don't know if it's just a weird creative turn that they took, but for whatever reason, her accent is very, very light to non-existent while she's in the ether, which makes me wonder, because she is a spy. She has been in the Union and whatnot, and she does have, like, you know, that kind of backstory and whatnot. I'm wondering if it might be kind of a facade that she's putting up with the actual team, or vice versa. Hey Brian, welcome back. In the ether.
Hey,
sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Welcome back, fearless leader.
We just got to talking about Yaz showing up in a, how do you say it again? Hijab.
Hijab.
Okay, yeah.
Hijab, yeah.
And you know, looking very different to how she normally is. You know, in the real world.
Yeah, very long hair, covered in the hijab, and she seems a lot less provocative than she does normally. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more subtle.
Yeah.
And
well, she's a lot less military. Like this is her civvy outfit.
And while they're kind of picking apart her outfit, in comes Val, who is not in the avatar that I think any of them were expecting. Val is in a masculine avatar.
I'm sorry, I think you mean fabulous avatar.
A fabulously masculine avatar.
Holy God.
Ladies and gentlemen, get the popcorn, everybody. You're gonna want to sit down and listen to what they have to say next. Take it away, Bo.
Hang on. Let me take just a second to talk about, like, all, like, masculine stuff aside. 100% that is an outfit I would wear.
You and David Bowie.
Brian, you know, I want to see you in that outfit.
Before I go off into my like little tangent here about how important this scene is, it's actually really funny. Tekka Qatar, one of our motion capture people for KRWBY, the first time that I met him, he had a white version of that outfit in VR chat. He had it was a long white trench coat with white, like, dress pants and dress shoes and everything, but it was like this galaxy version, and it was so funny because despite being in complete awe of how fabulous Val looked, I immediately was like, oh my god, it's exactly like the outfit that Tekka had, and it just made me chuckle a little bit. But anyways, this scene absolutely blew my mind because of how, at least in my mind, accurate and also casual it was with how they addressed Val/Valentina's gender identity as someone who identifies as gender fluid / non-binary. Non-binary, for those in layman's terms, androgynous, a little bit of both, kind of all the time. Gender fluid, from what we can tell with Val, I mean, we know that they have, like, regenerative abilities to a certain extent. Something like that. I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of people, you know, in the LGBT community that are trans that don't necessarily go all the way in the sense of not to, put down a certain level. There are different levels of transitioning. Some people go the whole 9 yards and get everything switched over, and some people only get top surgery, which is a lot easier than everything else. And I wouldn't be surprised if in this universe where they have the regenerative capabilities that there is the potential for, because if you look at Valentina's stature, she's taller than most of the other female characters, and she's got really broad shoulders too. Like, she's kind of built a little bit more like the guys, just she's got like the defining waist and the chest and whatnot. And it kind of actually makes me wonder, which makes me chuckle at, Kazu's question to her is, what were you born as? Because it's like she's implied a few times as Valentina that they do have gender swapping tech. I see that, James. She's implied a few times as Valentina, like that she's kind of a little bit uncomfortable with that. And she even says in this scene, maybe it's time for a switch. Maybe it's time to switch back. And she says that she has several times that she's shifted as Yaz calls it. And it's, I'm just,
well, I think that's why she says she corrects people, right? When they're like, oh, instead of Valentina, like, she's like, no, Valentina.
Yeah, they call her Val when she's presenting as female, and it's like, no, it's Valentina. Whereas in the ether, and when they are presenting as male, they would be
now it's
Val. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just, overall, like, this scene really, like, Rooster Teeth has definitely done some really cool things with their representation and whatnot. In my opinion, nothing to this level, and it legitimately made me so incredibly happy to see a character that I related to so wholeheartedly in that struggle. So I'm gonna stop before I get really emotional about it, because I'm starting to. It's just good on you, Rooster Teeth, and I am sold. If anyone else has anything else that they would like to add, that would be cool, because I'm gonna blow my nose real fast.
So something that I want to add about this was when they went into this online chat room. So first of all, very similar to VR chat, but did anybody else get Psycho-Pass vibes?
Yes.
Yes, I got vibes for that show I've never seen.
Did I?
Shut up, Cole.
I didn't.
Do you remember the online
Oh yeah.
section from Psycho-Pass?
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. One of the few
That's-
animes I've seen, and
Yeah,
it does.
that's probably.
It does now that
I will admit that's probably the most forgettable part of Psycho-Pass.
Yeah,
But-
I was like, all the like gory death,
yeah,
murder parts. Those are.
yeah. But yeah, no, it was just like, oh, this is so Psycho-Pass right now, especially Cammy's avatar.
Yeah, like the fact that some people are animals and some people are robots.
I'd like
and some people
to
are,
point out that Just Pira, Kyle on our server, has already changed his profile picture to this to Cammy's avatar.
I'm gonna be changing mine to Val's
Wow.
very soon here. I wanted to wait till after the podcast, so I didn't technically spoil anyone. I will probably anyways, but it's whatever. If you don't know what it is, it's not a spoiler.
You will what?
Change my avatar to
Christ.
Val's.
So let's see where I gotta look
Oh,
over my notes.
what
again.
about the different outfits that they get?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So good.
Died.
Yep.
So-
That's a nice self-referential moment.
Now,
I love
one thing that I will say about that, I could tell there was a little bit of budgetary stuff going on because they swapped over to the 2D, and we've been talking about how awesome it is that they've been adding more 2D elements in RWBY. I will admit the 2D elements here seemed kind of like a crutch because they didn't want to model
Well,
those
that
outfits
Yeah,
of
I
the
think-
characters, and it was kind of jarring because the characters just like became really
Froze.
still and froze and stopped moving.
I think my issue is that they froze a little too long. Like
Yeah.
if they'd skipped through those a little bit faster, it would have been okay. They also kind of like the RWBY ones are animated. Obviously, they've already done those models But but what they did with that is they had those models freeze for a second and then unfreeze, like reanimate. So it was almost like while your characters maybe move, or like it's loading the graphic for it or something. I don't know. I think it was a little wonky, but
I did
It was
love.
a little wonky,
I,
but it was
See, it was-
appreciated.
I did love Val's
was,
pirate outfit, and I'm 10 out of 10 absolutely going to cosplay that too.
pirate.
So it was something that Carrie mentioned in one of the RWBY rewinds. It was like one of the biggest problems or like struggles you face with 3D animation is when you have to make assets that you can't reuse. And that
Yeah.
would be why they switched to 2D here, because they're making a bunch of models for characters that they can never use again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like that's just a waste of resources.
Cole,
Right.
you
but
sound a
is-
little far away now.
I mean,
Do I?
Yeah.
Is it
Oh,
like?
I just have my gain down.
I mean, but the
that
question
better?
is,
Yeah.
is like, is it really a waste of resources if it's going to be jarring to the audience?
It was
You know,
only
kinda
jarring
depends
for
on
like a
your-
couple of seconds out of 25 minutes.
I think that if it had been in the real world, it would have been a problem. But considering they were in a video game and they were loading different outfits,
That's
I think
fair.
that they can get away
Yeah.
with it there.
Because they
That's
did.
fair.
I think they did a little pause thing on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was meant to. Also, let's put it this way.
But like, did you
It's
see?
like one minor nitpick out of an otherwise almost spotless episode that's just
yeah.
been
Well,
Yeah.
killing
I
us the
think-
entire way.
I'll tell you what was really jarring to me, aside from the fact that they just froze, was and they to their credit they tried to hide it behind the screen, but I could still notice it. Cammy's lip flaps on her character during the 2D segment were real wonky looking.
So what you're telling me is Genlock Bridge confirmed.
No
No.
Genlock Bridge.
No, Genlock Bridge not confirmed.
I mean, James finally has something to work with.
James would just literally die.
Yeah, he would. That's you don't know the fact that like I've had conversations with James where James has been like, I don't know what I'm gonna do when we get to volume 4. Like like
Anyway.
the lip flaps actually start matching.
See, but
Yeah.
that's when we do like bad lip reading.
Oh
Eh,
my god.
Anyway,
Anyway,
but
You
back to
guys
get us
now-
on
Into the
topic.
chat, what are you doing to me, you fuck?
So now
Thanks.
after all of the outfit changes, they all decide to go their separate ways, like we had started talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. And as soon as they're about to get started on their various activities, the ether shuts down, which is a great way of introducing something and then
Which
immediately showing something relevant happening. I'm
I-
not gonna say Chekhov's gun, but it
yeah, that
was.
Chekhov's gun.
I have
It-
something to add
seemed
with
too
having
brief.
to do with the shutdown. Is
Go ahead.
there is a moment right before everything shuts down where we see Dree Chase's sister, and she says Julian
What?
right before it shuts down.
I was wondering if anyone.
Mm-hmm.
She's her avatar at the very least. Maybe not her, but at the very least, her avatar is right at the last second before the unit.
Oh, James is telling us we missed
The-
something.
Oh, what do we miss, James?
James, tell us what we missed.
Tell us what you know.
Oh, he wanted us to catch the Dree part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That I didn't see that. I need to go back and watch it now.
We'll take a look at it after this.
Yeah, after we ring coal over the coals.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Oh, the coals?
So I'm assuming potentially that could mean that the sister is okay, and also if that is her, she now knows that Julian, or at least someone using his avatar, is there.
Is alive. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I think this is good. I went back and looked at. I did some more notes on the first episode, and the thing really relevant was that some of the pictures on the wall in their apartment show that both of Chase's parents were cops. They were NYPD. And it looks like maybe his dad died in the line of duty or something. There's a triangular box with a flag on the wall, something.
That's someone as
put
typically
on the-
you see when someone is lost in the line of duty.
Yeah,
Yeah, the flag.
yeah,
Mhm.
the flag that they drape over the coffin. Yeah. So, so we were last episode that like we were wondering, oh, maybe his mom is Union or something, because she, as soon as the Polity building, the UN building, agree, let's go, and she's like very, all of a sudden, she seems like a different person, right? And I think her being an ex-cop explains that pretty well without her necessarily being a Union spy. That could still be possible, don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
I think that goes some way to explaining her shift.
I mean, the interesting thing though is that yes, she could very well be Union, but anyone who comes from any kind of militaristic family, who has family members that have been in the military or some such similar happenstance of a career, anytime an emergency happens, they immediately go into that mode. It's like, you grab your bag, we're leaving. Like, there's no question, there's no hesitation, and I wouldn't be surprised, given that she was a cop, that they had contingency plans for something like that, especially if the Unity was already a major threat to begin with.
Hence why, hence why the makeout scene in episode 1 is not realistic.
The what scene?
So
The makeout scene in episode 1, where like
James.
where they're what, Cole?
He said,
Plot twist: the nanobots are actually pure as ashes.
Oh my god.
fucking James.
Mr. Ark, I don't feel so good.
We don't have enough. Union, I don't have enough arc. I don't have enough power.
So
Share your energy with me. Let's create a spirit bomb out of pure as ashes. A spirit bomb.
oh my god.
All right, we need to
they've
get
got-
back on track
yeah,
for what
so
happens
they
next,
get-
please.
So they get kicked off the internet. They got a mission, and they're going to the Dallas data center.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Great
yeah,
joke,
we gotta bring
James.
Texas into this.
Yep, and then the Genlock team. This is where they talk about the fact that the Genlock team has to stay close to their Holons and fly into the area with their Holons in order to maximize
Uptime.
which
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a thing, and then
Which Valentine is like, I kind of stay out of the combat zone. That
Yeah, like they weren't necessarily anticipating physically being near the conflict, which is understandable. That's definitely not what was implied originally. Because, like, why are we
also,
uploading our
Valentina's the
brains?
sniper.
Why are we uploading
Yeah.
our brains to these things to send them off to fight if
gonna be there, too.
we're gonna also be there?
Yeah.
especially if you're like unconscious.
Yeah. So, Cammy does not want to shoot people. She's got a disposition about that, and so she deliberately tries to shoot the tank as opposed to the people, but then she winds up shooting the tower and crushes a bunch of people into the tower, so it didn't really work in her favor.
Nope.
Hopefully that will just help her get over it. Like you are no longer just a child, Miss McLeod. You are now a soldier.
You go
Buckle up.
people.
I mean, I understand her.
Do you say
her
buckle
feeling...
up or fuckle up?
Buckle.
With a B, Cole. What do you think? Jeez.
I don't know. Listen, I
I will
asked
say-
because I had a question, and I'm immediately criticized because of my question. I
You
see
knew
how
what
it
you were
is.
asking, Cole.
No, okay. Well,
That's
so,
my hand colliding with the back of your head.
So I do understand her
it's my head
disposition about
colliding with my keyboard.
maybe not shooting people with like the 15-foot gun. Like that gun would fuck some shit up.
Brian, the way you said
Oh my god.
Let's continue while he's
I mean,
distracted.
that
Let him
must
continue
mean that
giggling.
those bullets are at least the size of fucking volleyballs.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, can we talk about the fact that bullets still don't do anything?
But it's still not useful.
Only
No.
Val is useful. Val is the only one that landed any hits in that whole fight that actually did
I mean,
anything.
Yeah, Kazu was just throwing
It's accurate.
shit.
Ruby's...
Cause
And-
we really need to
and
talk to you about
Cammy
your
was
collateral
using a-
damage.
Freaking pistol.
Yeah, she needs a bigger gun. That's what is that?
Also,
Like,
also those
it's
pistols,
certainly not the Magnum from Halo.
No.
No, it's 100% the Magnum,
Halo.
specifically from Halo 3. That's fucking useless.
Yeah, let's get her some SMGs and we'll see what happens.
No,
It's
fuck
a
the
pea
shooter.
SMGs.
No, not
it's all
Halo
VR.
SMGs,
No,
like her
let's-
SMGs, the ones that she's
oh.
holding
Let's
in the
get her a
intro.
Halo 1 Magnum.
There
we
you go.
go.
With
Now
an
it's
energy pistol as a sidearm.
Mhm.
on.
So
Let's just break the show.
Anyway,
but
Cammy,
yeah,
in her infinite wisdom, can't tell between Kazu and an approaching enemy creature.
a thing that looks
well,
nothing
we're
like
skipping
him.
over some stuff. So they get to the data center and it's empty, real suspicious. And then got an enemy mech, and I feel for Cammy
With
because
nanotech.
she's really not ready for this.
No.
No, she's
Like,
not.
She doesn't know
Well,
if she's supposed to just go through the wall of nanotech.
She's the only civilian in this, right?
Yeah.
Chase is an ex-pilot, right? It seems like also an ex-pilot. Kazu was a pilot or a tank pilot, a gunner actually, and then special ops.
Mm-hmm.
So they've experienced, except Kemi, who's apparently she was a hacker basically, and she hacked into the polity, and they said, okay, go to jail or work for us.
Yeah.
She chose work for them.
Obviously.
So
Yeah.
so she does not have any combat experience. She does not have any combat training. So she's here.
She was the one that should not have had to go up against this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of the
It's
other
gonna
ones
play into it.
would've
It's really gonna
been
play
a
into
bad-
this later.
Yeah. I love so like Cammy gets got, and I fucking love the fact that like Kazu's first reaction. I
is
love
to
the
pick up 2 cars.
yeah, he picks up 2 cars and runs.
My
But-
thing,
whoa,
my
whoa,
thing that I love
slow
is
down.
that as soon as shit starts to go down with Cammy, everyone is like, "That's my daughter, you bitch!"
But let's be real. Cammy isn't just getting got. Got is a grand understatement.
Going
to what's
back
she
to
loses
how
her
they can-
head.
they can
That thing
feel
is
things.
literally ripping apart her chest and into the cyber brain. We
Yeah,
can
it's-
literally see the cyber brain right in front of us by the time
It's-
they intervene.
It's interesting. It goes immediately, like, takes her head off. It goes
Mhm.
immediately for the cyber. So, whatever it was that this thing is, I don't think it's because I don't think Sinclair got what the Union wanted from their tech. They're still after that hull.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta talk about real fast here, and I know you guys are gonna agree with me. It was really hard to watch that scene. Like, it was really hard to
Oh my
watch that
gosh.
happen to
Yeah,
Cammy. And
Like-
here,
Macy's screaming was yeah.
it was heart
I'm
wrenching.
Had practice.
gonna make a reference here that probably nobody here gets, but if anybody in the audience remembers, it reminds me of that scene from Dragon Ball Super Broly when Broly is just literally flinging Goku around everywhere, and he's screaming in pain, and it just hurts to watch. That's the vibes that I got here. It was just like, it was real pain.
Because she was helpless. She couldn't do anything. She was the
Right?
one that couldn't fight. And
Yeah.
it's so heart-wrenching, and I'm really what was I guess it is SAO. I've been trying to remember the reference to it, but y'all remember the second season that we don't like to talk about, where like they turn up the
You mean a
sensitivity and whatnot?
Fairy dance arc?
Yeah, where they turn up the sensitivity, and if it gets high enough, it leaves permanent damage to your actual body. Like,
fucking bullshit? Yeah.
I'm really worried about it kind of being like that, where it's like if they exceed uptime, if it actually does, like, it might not necessarily do anything to their mind. What if it actually affects their body? Like, what if their body, like their organs start failing because their body thinks that they're dead or something like that?
Well,
It's the equivalent of
you
leaving
went into
it's the equivalent of leaving your plasma screen TV on too long and having the image get burned into the screen.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Has that been an issue for a while?
Not for a while.
No, because plasma screens and
that's-
TVs don't exist anymore.
As I look at my
That's a
TV that has
really-
the images of the layout for Critical Role burned into my TV because I watched 115 4.5 to 5 hour long episodes straight.
Wait, is that a thing that happened?
Yeah, it has like the lines on the screen.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
really
man.
funny.
but yeah, but like some of the issues with this uploading your brain and loading it back, and I think that's a real issue because Cammy gets head ripped off, which normally is pretty
Yeah.
right, and they have like body sense. They feel like they are in this mech suit, and so your brain's reaction to thinking off is gonna
Yeah.
dance.
I did like that she seemed to kind of calm down a bit once she merged minds with Yaz so she could see again and kind of remind herself, okay, this wasn't my actual body that this happened to. And she kind of calmed down after that.
Well,
Yeah.
it might even just be, I mean, it's that, but it might also be that because their minds are linked now, that some of emotions are spilling over into Cammy, and fairly calm at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love the fact that there's a little thing where Yaz goes, "Oh my God, Mindshare actually worked," and the reaction from Val was like, "I'm sorry, what?
You've never
You've
done
never done this before?"
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then that's kind of where they leave this episode. They leave this episode on kind of a what the fuck just happened note, and that's
what was that thing?
yeah, what was that thing? And this is something that I would like to. I want to get your thoughts on this because at this point we're done with the episode, and so maybe this would be we can have this discussion be kind of part of our predictions segment.
Yeah.
But why did the Union push so far into enemy territory and attack with so little forces? Because the enemy mech just runs off like a little bitch and like leaves what was the point of that attack?
Well, specifically, they were
Hold on,
going
Jack.
after the ether. They were trying to bring down the ether network or gain control of it, which is I'm assuming a huge means of funding and like it's essentially kind of like the whole plot of Ready Player One is if you control the Oasis, you control the world. It's the one thing that
In a
ties
way.
everyone
But-
together.
But okay, but they failed. They weren't able to like they were able to take it down, but they're already working on getting it back up. What was the point of
This
that? To
wasn't-
make a statement?
This
I
wasn't
think this
like
was a head fake.
New York where they sent. Yeah, I think you're right. I think this was a fake. I think they hit something hard that they knew was really important to the polity, so they knew it would be there.
They could. What if they get back
getting
to the?
E-brain was their objective.
What if they get back to the anvil and something's happened at the anvil?
I think there are a couple
Maybe.
things that may or may not be going on. I think this might also I think this was a head fake, like hit them hard, make them respond. I think this might also have been a push for, all right, we've seen they have these Holons. They don't know exactly what they're called, but they want to know what they can do, and if this thing, which they showed off, can counter them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this
Yeah.
was more like a test of strength than a show of force. Like, can your Hollands handle this? And if they can't, look at
Yeah.
us with our four-armed mech thing, bitches.
Yeah.
Be afraid.
Yeah, like where did this? Because they've shown that they have some really weird mechs. They have the spider things. They have the manta ray things with, but then this thing is like very humanoid.
But feral. It's so feral though.
Like-
It attacked with almost animal ferocity. Didn't even
Yeah.
feel human.
So my question is: this an AI? Is they've talked about RC before? They talked about like remote controlled drones, right? And I imagine all this, right? We've seen the unit hacking weapons that they can use to hack the polity's drones. They deploy the little swarm of fighters at the very start of the Battle of New York. They have a bunch of drones. So they clearly use a lot of drones and maybe some RC things. What is this? Is it a drone?
I'm not gonna bother trying to explain the semantics of how it would work, because there was obviously, it's not the no body, no death rule. But I'm gonna say, and this is, I can't remember who it was that said it, and I went back and I checked a few things out. And so to my in this essay, I will talk about how I'm pretty sure that it's possibly Sinclair that's in the mech that's piloting it as like a defective Holon, essentially, because it definitely seems to be a one-track mind kind of thing. And my only evidence that suggests it is he was partially uploaded, and so part of him could potentially exist somewhere up there in the ether, quote unquote. Which is also supported by the odd occurrence, which could just be an error on their part. But so Sinclair died, quote unquote, in episode 2. Episode 3, Blaine's name was still in the credits. Episode 4, his name is not in the credits anymore, which is interesting that it shows the evil Holon and immediately transitions to Sinclair in the credits. The fact that he did partially try to upload. I watched the opening many times earlier trying to pick it apart. It goes from the evil mech straight to Sinclair.
Interesting. I know in the intro when it goes to Sinclair, I don't know if this is an accident or not, but the music cue at that exact moment says something about a lesser evil. Like right as it's on Sinclair, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's gonna be more relevant than...
Yeah, but I think Sinclair is the evil Holon. That's I'm putting my name to it. I agree. Yes, I will stand by this theory.
Well, it does confirm the same way he does. I don't know if that's just a thing all of the Union guys can do, but you know, Chekhov's gun.
Yep. So why don't we go down the line and talk predictions?
Let's go in the same order that we went with introducing ourselves.
All right. So my predictions. I think this is something I said last time. I really want to see more interactions between Miranda and Chase, because it's been so long since they've talked, and I really loved their relationship dynamic before he died, and I kind of miss it, and I really hate her current boyfriend. His name I forget. I'm gonna
don't even know that
he's
her boyfriend, though.
That's true. They could just be fuck buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like either way.
Enemies with benefits.
Yeah, that. But either way, I really want to see more of that. This fight was super awesome, so I want more fights. I just want to see everything. I want to see more of this world. I love these characters, and I want to see them interact more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Is it me?
Did you go second?
I guess it's me. I think so. Yeah. So yeah, I'm I don't know that I have any predictions at this point, other than I think that it's highly likely that there's a reason for them. They seemed to push very hard for the Union seemed to push very hard for this attack, for seemingly no payoff, and
that we know of.
And I think they're working a long con.
Yeah.
On this.
Mm-hmm.
That's
they're
my
playing
prediction.
the long game.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they put something into the ether.
I also
hacking the ether potentially. Maybe they already have.
I also think this mistrusting dynamic between Val and what's her face, the yellow girl.
Yaz
is gonna come to a head relatively soon. Because now they've been officially attacked by the Union again, and we saw how Valentina reacted last time.
I actually
Brian, your name's been changed to the server again.
Cool. I wanted to. I meant to bring it up earlier when we started talking about the gender identity thing. One interesting thing that goes back to the third episode when we had the big like yelling argument between Val and Yaz is it's very easy to make out what Yasmin is saying or Yasmin is saying, but Val's is kind of very quiet. And I went and put the subtitles on and I was reading what she said. And one of the last things she says is something along the lines of, and what the Union has done to people like me. And it's just like, I think that it could potentially come to a head, but I think I'll get to my prediction when it's my turn.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up because I meant to bring it up earlier and I forgot.
Ian.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens next. I especially want to see the new armor. That is my relationship goals with Genlock. Show me the armor, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll exit stage right now. Please excuse me.
Forrest.
Not that many predictions actually for this episode. I think it's kind of open-ended where they're gonna go. I did a couple of things. I have my notes. I'm just gonna run through some fun that I found. So let's see. The robot that helps out the doctor is named as KRWBY, which is apparently a character. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's a character from The Tempest from Shakespeare, who is a half human, half monster sort of character. Because he's a robot, right? It's not human. Anyways. As for I spent like way too much time on Google Earth, like trying to find what the anvil is. Pretty sure it's located in the mountains in southern Colorado. That's where I think it is. So they're a little further west than where this attack at the Ether network. And let's see, the colonel is named Abel. And then Yaz's mech apparently has a name. It's called, which is a bird from Persian mythology that is said to never touch the ground. Which, if we see the opening thing, it's got wings on it. So there you go.
Makes sense.
Last little thing, way back in like the first episode of the U.S. and the one thing I noticed, there's like they fudged the borders a little bit to like, you know, kind of some global warming happening a little bit. Louisiana's a little bit smaller. The Bay Area is a little, but Florida is just gone.
I wonder if that's a red versus blue reference.
It's such a red versus blue reference.
Wait, what? I don't remember that.
Yep.
What happened to Florida?
What happened to... I don't want to... Oh, that's Georgia. But yeah. Agent Florida.
Oh my god.
So, red versus blue references everywhere. That's the last thing I have to say, I think.
Okay. Bo?
Me. You know, I said this... I can't remember who I said it to. And I know that... I feel like there wasn't really much ground to go off of with it. But... there were some very deliberate shots this episode, and this is something that we didn't actually talk about in the review of the episut. Is
very deliberate ass shots.
Is that the guy that Gray plays was considered to be Genlock compatible, but he was already a little bit too old to be able to do it. And there are these very specific shots of Miranda considering this, and I'm curious, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. They have an extra Genlock. They have an extra Holon just sitting there. Sinclair's isn't being used. Like, I think that Miranda's gonna somehow end up becoming Genlock compatible. Because
maybe they'll make a breakthrough in the procedure.
Maybe they'll be able to
So
figure out a
what
way
you're-
to to make someone Genlock compatible.
So what I'm hearing is steamy robot makeup sex.
Obviously. It's the only way she's going to get anything from Chase.
Genlock smut calendar. Oh
Hashtag relationship goals.
But yeah, I think that there were these very deliberate shots that they had of Miranda like reacting to it. Like they had, you know, like when Dr. Weller says, "Oh yeah, well, you know, he was considered, you know, compatible, but he was a little bit too old." It's like they don't have Gray's character centered. They have the camera centered on Miranda and her reaction to it. And it's a little interesting to me, and so I'm really would like to see her potentially. I think that'd be a cool thing, is finding out that she's Genlock compatible somewhere down the line. I don't know that it would necessarily be the next episode. Going back to the topic of Yaz and Val is. Yes, I think that this whole like bickering between them is going to come to a head, but I think that it's going to come to a positive end, in the sense of it really kind of seems like they're both actually being a little. They were both really supportive of each other in the ether, and I think that Yaz is going to be very. I think that they have the potential to have Yaz be very respectful towards Val about specific things, and I think that Val is really going to appreciate it, and I think that it's going to bring them closer, and I think that they're going to end up being really good teammates at the end of it.
Yeah, I think they're going to use Kazu as sort of a foil in that sense of just like, he's like, what?
I like that. I do like that he's blissfully unaware, and I like that they're using him as a means of like informing people that he's not necessarily being ignorant. He just genuinely doesn't know, and he's genuinely confused, and I like that they're using him to explain that kind of stuff, because he doesn't get it, and there's a lot of people that don't, and I want to see where that progresses. I want to see the development of you know, potentially even, you know, seeing Val go through a shift, as she called it. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my prediction and my hope.
So before we wrap up here, just a couple of housekeeping things. I was able to confirm through combing through Rooster Teeth posts that the first season of Genlock is going to be 8 episodes.
Just 8 episodes?
Yep. So we are already halfway through the season.
What?
Wow.
No.
Dang it.
That's short.
I mean, have you seen the production quality of this show, though?
I know they've been really long, but damn, fuck. I wanted more. Damn it, more.
I'm also very excited for next week, where we only have to talk about 1 episode.
I mean, that's gonna cut down the runtime from closer to 2 hours, you know, to an hour 15 at most.
Yeah, although that's normally our usual runtime.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh my god, shut up, don't worry, it'll be shorter next time. And the last one has absolutely nothing to do with Genlock, but as an anime fan, I feel I have an obligation to tell everybody to go watch The Promised Neverland.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I don't know what that
And we can talk about that
Go
later.
watch Fate Stay Night, A Limited Blade Works, and Fate Zero. And Fate
Go watch
Apocrypha.
Kaguya-sama Love is War and come back to me.
I kid you not, The Promised Neverland, it's airing right now. It is already, like, in the first 5 episodes, it's already, like, one of my favorite anime I've ever seen. It's real good. So, anyways, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
One last housekeeping note. If you're not in our public Discord server, you definitely should give it a look. I believe we have the link down in the description right below the video, We also have our newly founded Patreon as well, where we post a lot of behind the scenes stuff and whatnot, and a lot of the shenanigans for KRWBY. And yeah, if you guys would like to support us, there's those two different ways. Discord is a lot of fun because we all hang out and we all talk there, and you can catch us in the chats and the voice channels. So yeah, if you haven't joined us, then you definitely should consider it. It's kind of a party.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you back here next week, same time, Saturday, 11 p.m. Eastern.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
All right. Thanks,
Sure.
guys.
Thanks for that, Cole. Bye, everyone.
God, this thing's gonna have more references than Ready Player One at this point. Jesus.